I was never worried about Sasuke until I received the preview for the next chapter of the Boruto timeskip. This is the preview for the 3rd chapter, and at first it appears like this is just a typical preview text. But the more you read it, the more you come to understand that Sasuke might actually be dead. You guys know that I never agreed with these theories, but this preview text makes it seem like the theories are actually true. So let me actually read the preview for you guys. The right text says, "Cut despair into pieces with this sword." The left cover text says, "Cover and opening page colored." The left text is vague, and it seems like it is implying that there would be a colored cover and an opening page that is also colored. But please take this with a grain of salt. This translation was done by Luna, and it does seem like we're going to be getting the first 2 pages that will end up being colored. But that's not the important thing. Cut despair into pieces with this sword. At first you may read this and you say, okay, this is not anything too special, but let's actually dissect this a little bit further. When he says cut despair into pieces with this sword, it implies that Sasuke is giving Boruto his sword, and he is saying this to Boruto as he is giving him the sword. This could potentially be the moment where we see Sasuke give Boruto his sword alongside his potential final request, which is to cut despair into pieces. This seems to be edging on these theories of Sasuke potentially dying, and we may see the answer to this question in this chapter. As I have said in previous videos, we're coming to the end of a volume, and the end of this chapter might be a cliffhanger that either tells us that Sasuke may be dead or that Sasuke is still alive. And we have to discuss both possibilities. The first thing that we have to discuss is that Sasuke is actually dead, and Sasuke and Boruto had their final moments where Boruto received Sasuke's sword. This is a genuine possibility, but the one thing I would know is that Code is definitely not involved. Code is not the one who is involved in Sasuke's death at all, because if Code is actually involved, do you think that he wouldn't mention this? If you got such a big W against Boruto, don't you think he would at least mention that, oh, I killed your master, by the way? Yeah, he would say that, but he clearly didn't say that. And as I've discussed in previous videos, this was a 1v1 between Boruto and Code, so Sasuke dying would not have happened by Code or in that fight, which means that Sasuke's death happened in a completely different fight. And this is getting very interesting, because if Sasuke wasn't really killed by Code, who is the one who ended up killing him? And there are 2 potential options. These are Kawaki and Boruto, and we may have received some sort of hint to that being the case, with Kawaki who went and killed Sasuke, because in chapter 75 of the timeskip we do see Kawaki in his version 2 Karma, and he has some sort of blood on his face. We never ended up seeing this panel come to be, and everybody thought that this was potentially retcon or a mistake on Kishimoto's side. But what if it was actually prophesying what was going to happen in the timeskip, where Sasuke was killed by Kawaki? Although a lot of people don't want this to be the case, this could actually make a lot of sense, and I can already see if this does end up happening, we're going to get a flashback arc where we see everything that happened with Boruto leaving in that 1-year span, and what happened to Boruto and Sasuke, how Boruto ended up training with Sasuke and received his sword. And it would make sense that Kawaki is the one who does it, as we do know that we didn't end up seeing that version 2 Karma state of Kawaki, the one that Boruto saw in the future. We never ended up seeing this, and it was a big problem in the community. Everybody was theorizing what actually ended up happening, and if Kawaki is the one who killed Sasuke, it would make a lot of sense for what Boruto says in that timeskip scene. Did you really have to go that far? Because his issue was really with Boruto. His issue was never with Sasuke. Kawaki sees Boruto as his enemy due to him being controlled by Momoshiki, so he has to get rid of Boruto, but he doesn't have to get rid of Sasuke. So if he did that, would that truly be the only option that Kawaki had? That's why Boruto tells him that in that timeskip scene. And if Sasuke ended up dying and Kawaki is the one who did it, it would make sense for Boruto to not want to talk to Kawaki again, to not ever want to bring it back together between him and Kawaki. The conflict between Kawaki and him, he believed that it was simply going to be a fight between brothers. but it seems to have taken a completely different shape, and could be one of the very reasons that may tell us that Boruto and Kawaki will not have the same ending as Sasuke and Naruto. But that's not the only possibility. We also have to discuss the possibility of Boruto being the one who ended up doing this. And if Boruto is the one who killed Sasuke when Momoshiki took control of him, then it would make sense why Boruto didn't look at Sarada at all, because he felt some sort of guilt for being the cause of Sasuke's death. And it is one of the reasons why Boruto is not smiling, because he knows what he has done. He is not happy with himself. We could see a Boruto who truly hates himself in some sort of way for the pain and troubles that he is causing other people. Boruto and Momoshiki's minds were merging to the point where Momoshiki took control of Boruto whenever he wants, and they were able to talk in their mind. And if this merger continued on for these 3 years, there is a genuine possibility that Momoshiki just took control of Boruto's body, potentially when he was sleeping, and got rid of Sasuke entirely. Things are not looking good at all, and I'm not going to act like I was with the people who were saying Sasuke died, but with this preview, I won't lie, I am kind of scared. I don't know what to think right now when it comes to Sasuke. They can't do Sasuke like that. And if everything that happened with Gojo, it does seem that this is a potential. This could be something that ends up happening. But if this does come to pass, it would happen in a flashback scene. We would go back and have a flashback arc entirely, and then we would see everything that happened in the time skip and what Boruto has dealt with and where Sasuke is exactly. But this doesn't confirm everything. It doesn't necessarily mean that Sasuke is dead. It could simply be that Sasuke gave Boruto a sword and he's telling him what to do with that sword. It could just be a cool moment between Sasuke and Boruto. It does not necessarily mean that he has died. So if we are to believe that Sasuke is alive, I am convinced that he has to get some sort of power up, because he simply can't compete with these characters like Kawaki, who has mastered Ishiki's abilities, Code, who is stronger than Jigen, Boruto, who's able to stomp on Code, who is stronger than Jigen. I don't think Sasuke could contend with these fours, and I don't believe that Sasuke was just going to be in the background watching, giving advice. I don't think that's going to be Sasuke's role. Sasuke is going to be pivotal, so he has to get a power up, because if Sasuke is not dead, the only thing I believe he is doing is that he is potentially doing some research on the Ten Tails. While Boruto is in the village, Sasuke is out there looking and seeing what the Ten Tails really is, doing research on where Code put the Ten Tails so that they could get rid of this threat, as Sasuke is one of the only people who has done a lot of research on the Ten Tails and the Otsuzukis. And there is a genuine possibility that he regains his Rinnegan. This is something that could end up happening because Sasuke acknowledges that he is not strong enough. He can't contend, so he potentially goes and regains his Rinnegan. The only way I would see this come to be would be through the technology path, as we know that one of the themes of the first part of Boruto was dealing with technology, and how technology is neither good or bad. It depends on how you're using it. And if Sasuke uses technology to regain his powers so that he could do some good for the world, I do believe that's a genuine possibility. And the only way I would see this happening is if we have Sasuke who meets up with Orochimaru. This is the main way I could see this happening, as we know that he has all sorts of information. He's a demigod. He can do everything. He knows information about the chakra fruits. He knows information about the Ten Tails, and he could potentially be the one who helps Sasuke regain his Rinnegan. And we do see in some of the novels that he did help Naruto gain some sort of Byakugan. I didn't really read that novel, but I did get some of that information for those people who actually read the novels. So if Sasuke is still alive, he would get some new abilities, potentially a Rinnegan, or a completely different mastery of his abilities that he previously has. But the one thing I haven't heard a lot of people discuss is the possibility of him getting a new potential design. Sasuke would get some new type of design. Maybe he would have longer hair, a different look. I'm really interested to see what Sasuke would look like. But you guys have to let me know what you guys think, because is Sasuke dead? Is Kawaki the one who did end up coming in the time skip and met up with Boruto and Sasuke and potentially dealt the final blow? this would make a lot of sense, and I'm finally starting to think that this could actually be a possibility. As I have said, we're going to be seeing something very crazy in these next few chapters as we are approaching the end of a volume. So the cliffhanger that we're going to be getting is either going to be positive or is going to be completely negative. But if you want to find out more information on how Sasuke could regain his Rinnegan, you have to watch this video right here.